Good morning, YouTube, and happy July 4th. We're going to be looking at Nike's patents that were issued on July 3rd, which would be yesterday. The reason we're doing this is because non-woven textile with non-linear entangled seams suitable for garments. So I don't know if y'all speak that language, but it took me a little while to decipher what we were talking about. You can feel free to read the patents if you want. I've read them multiple times trying to understand it. I'm just going to try to explain it to you in good old layman's terms. So, what a composite textile is just a combination of different layers of materials. It's not just one sheet of fabric like a windbreaker is. It's going to be non-woven. So, instead of having seams that are locking together, it's going to somehow be bonded together. So, kind of a different kind of jacket. Um, the first is going to be a non-woven top layer, which is the outside. The second layer will be the insulation, and the third layer will be the inside. What makes this kind of different is the non-linear seams that will be holding the insulation in place. So when you think of a winter jacket, you can see them being straight. The seams are going, horizontal along you. With this one, they're going to be irregularly seamed, and that's going to hold your insulation in place for longer. And you might think, well, what is that going to do? It creates air pockets, but more than that, it keeps all of the insulation and those air pockets or those heat pockets in place after, 10 years of washing or snowboarding or hunting, whatever you're going to do. The insulation likes to sink a little bit more to the bottom, and it lowers the overall performance. So this is just going to end up having more durability for a longer period of time. Um, the next patent is a patent for the upper part of the shoe. It's an article of footwear having two yarn types. Okay. Again, feel free to read the patent if you want. So, the upper is the part of the shoe that covers the top of your foot. It's everything above the sole. And this patent is about how the upper is constructed using the knitted materials. So, the first area is the side of the upper. It's going to be located at the medial or the inner, or the lateral, which is going to be the outer side of the shoe. It's made up of knit courses, which is just rows of knitting, and it's mostly constructed of what they call the first yarn type. We don't actually know what that is. There's a second area that's going to be adjacent to it, which just means across, so to the right. It's also going to be made up of knit courses, which are again those rows, but it'll be used of a different yarn type called second yarn. Um, it may include knit anchors, which is going to be used to reinforce or tighten the loops, and it'll help stabilize the support for the knit. So, in some aspects, it says that they're also, first off, those knit anchors are a possibility, but so is this third yarn. These are both possibilities. It said the first two are guaranteed. It said in some aspects, there may be knit anchors and there may be a third yarn type. The third yarn type is to enhance functionality and performance. I believe it's supposed to make it more flexible and durable. Um, it's going to extend from the bite line, which is the line where the upper meets the sole of the shoe, to the edge between the first and second areas. And then this could act as a transition zone, and it'll help with that strength and flexibility between the two areas. It's going to be integrated into the first area with interlooping portions, but not through a knit padding. So it's just going to be like floating kind of above it and just touching those portions in between. It's kind of hard to imagine. So they're going to be using three different knit yarns, or three different yarns, and they're all going to be certain knit patterns. So the first area might be soft and breathable. The second area could be very supportive and durable, and the third area could act like a reinforcement structure between the two zones. Kind of, again, a hard shoe to picture, but I believe it's going to be made for running. It's going to be a running shoe. It should I think the reason they're doing this for the two sides of yarn is to stretch the sides to the foot. It'll configure to the foot a little more easily. And the lace holes are supposed to be more durable, and the heel area holds your foot in place. This is it's kind of just a modern running shoe design, if I have to be honest. But it's still interesting the way they broke it down, patented it. The next one, yeah, this next one is a footwear with mechanical foot insertion assistance or assist, whatever. So what this one is, imagine your shoes just a little too tight, or maybe your feet are a little swollen, or maybe it's a child and he just very it's a hard to get his shoes on. The idea I believe behind this is to have a rotating mechanism, and it's supposed to suck your foot in, kind of like a conveyor belt system. So the parts that we were seeing in the pat is the insole, the part your foot rests on inside the shoe. The upper is the material that wraps around the top sides of your foot, and the space between the insole and the upper, which is going to be the hollow area where your foot actually goes. There's going to be a rotator conveyor element, a mechanical part like a roller or a belt that can spin, and it's a built either into the insole, or it's going to be built into the upper, or it's going to be built into both, and it's going to suck your foot into the shoe. And as your foot enters the shoe, the rotating part makes contact with your foot or heel. It then rotates the way and pulls your foot deeper into the shoe. And it's kind of like a mini treadmill that's just going to try to eat your foot. And it could really help elderly people, or just people with limited mobility, athletes who want to just throw their shoes on real fast without having to. They like them tight, but they don't want to have to always undo it. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, design I've never heard of. Assistance on putting on your shoes. Very interesting. Okay, a layered thumb hole structure. So this is exactly what it sounds like. You're wearing a t-shirt. You can put your little thumb through it, and now you have little half gloves, or whatever you want to call it, for keeping you warm. The difference between this is, where is it? I wanted to show you. Oh well. This one is supposed to have a flap, and the flap allows you to open or close the thumb hole more easily. It's gonna just be a thumb hole with a flap. There's gonna be a piece of fabric sewn into the sleeve that covers the cutout hole, and another piece of fabric or band attached across part of the same cutout. So it's just gonna, like I said, be a little strap that you can kind of cover up the thumb hole with. It said that there was going to be two little configurations: a open configuration, a closed configuration, obviously, and it just allows you to wear your shirts normally without a thumb hole, or if you're cold, you can use the thumb hole. Could be good for joggers, people in cold weather, kids. I like it. It's a little sleeve layered cuff, so nothing real fancy, but it does its job. The next one: garments and articles incorporating recycled foam scrap. So, this is a recycling patent that's going to allow them to use old articles of footwear, athletic pads, industrial pads, um, things that are like that. And they are planning on recycling them and using them, I believe, as insulation for different articles of clothing, which sounds like a pretty interesting idea. I mean, Nike's trying to go green a little bit, something different, and it could also lower costs by. I'd have to run some numbers. So this next patent is all about sole structure and changing the way that they design soles and how puncture resistant the soles actually are. So it's comprised of two different layers. The first one being a thermoplastic material that has a higher melting point than the second thermoplastic material. So there's two different thermoplastic materials, right? The second thermoplastic material is going to have a lower melting point than the first, right? This allows it to melt and bond around the fibers without damaging or melting the fibers themselves. The result is a reinforced structure where the outer material, the second thermoplastic, holds the inner fibers, the first thermoplastic, in place. So the materials are used mainly as like air cushions or fluid chambers for like the Nike Airs or there's a few other ones. That's the one that comes to mind. It just adds puncture resistance, so sharper objects aren't able to go through your foot as easily. It combines two different melting points to create like a strong bonded structure, and it can be used as actually a cushioning because the first one. Um, it just adds enhanced puncture protection. So maybe it's a design for boots or something in the future. Next one is a design for a shoe, and I will pull up a couple images right now, and it's a shoe. So this last patent is all about the outside of the soles, or what they call the outsoles. It's the part that actually touches the ground. By using a special polymer chain, I think they call it polymer chain. It's this one right here, the 116. They are able to reduce how easily dirt can bind onto the shoe. Um, all this really does is, well, it keeps your shoes clean for one. That's pretty cool. But it also has performance capabilities and things like sports or muddy areas, or maybe it's raining or something on a soccer field. It just repels dirt more easily and makes it less likely to stick to you. Uh, could be really helpful for maybe like if you're running on trails too, or hiking boots. It's an interesting idea, and plus, who doesn't like clean shoes? I mean, but anyways, guys, I do believe that is all the patents that they have currently out. They did about 8 of them, just quite a few. And I'll keep you guys updated if there's anything else on Nike. But if y'all wouldn't mind dropping me a like and a subscribe, really help out the channel. And till next time, guys. Thanks.